So Lofty has changed their user interface. They've changed where everything is in the dashboard. And instead of you having to go into the help article and look around, I'm going to walk you through all the changes. I'm going to show you where everything is. I'm going to do it right now. So if you do want to go through the help article, you can go to it here and it's going to go through all the details of everything that's been updated. But instead of doing this, like I said, I'm just going to take you into Lofty and walk you through. So we go into the dashboard. This is the change. So the very top here is what has changed mostly. So they've nested everything below some more like parent categories or parent tabs, if you will. So if you're familiar with Lofty, you're going to notice that settings used to be right here. Now settings is going to be over on the right-hand side where this gear icon is. If you click on that, it's going to open up the settings. This is personal settings for me because I have a enterprise account. So I've got personal, office, and I've got company. But if you just have a normal account for yourself or for a team, it'll look something like this. And in settings, of course, you've got account security, notifications, integrations, organization, call and text, so you can configure dialers and things like that, as well as email. This is where you control the AI assistant. So AI texting, AI email, all that sort of good stuff is all controlled through here. So that's where the settings are. I wanted to make sure to cover that first real quick, just to show you where it is, because it's the most common question I've gotten from customers and people that are in my free Google Ads school, because a lot of them use Lofty as their realtors. And they're like, where the heck did settings go? So it's over on the right-hand side under the gear icon. That's where settings are now. So let's jump over to the CRM section and click on people. This is the people page. It's the same page that we had before, but now instead of it just being at the very top where it says people, you click CRM, then people. So I'll go over the basics of this particular page. So across the top here, we have what we call pipeline stages. So a pipeline stage is basically the sales process. It's through the sales cycle. So it starts as a new lead, qualify, nurture, watch, working. These are editable if you have your own Lofty. If you're on an enterprise version of Lofty, like the EXP one or mine, you won't be able to edit these, but they will. So they'll just be hard coded in. So the major difference between pipelines and some of the other features like tags and segments, which I'll talk about in a second, is that you can only be in one pipeline stage at a time. So when you're in new leads and you talk to somebody, you put them in a nurture or qualify, maybe working or watch, and that's how you know where they are in the sales process, by which pipeline stage they are in. So next up is what we call segments. So segments are you can basically be in more than one segment at a time. As opposed to a pipeline stage, you can only be in one pipeline stage. So they operate very similarly to tags, but one of the really cool things about segments is you can put a reminder. For example, this referrals one right here, if I wanted to, I could click set reminder. You could say, look, people that are in the referrals segment, I want every 30 days for me to either manually or automatically touch them in some way. And then you can set that, and then it will actually have a list that's live that will have people that are needing to be touched or have been touched, depending on how you set the settings up. So segments are really, really powerful. Focus on pipeline stages first, and then graduate to segments and tags and things like that in the future if need be. So next up is tasks. Tasks are exactly what you think they are. They're tasks. So you can track them by scheduled, overdue, finished, company versus my tasks, depending on the kind of account you have. And this is just a good way to consolidate everything, And you can filter by task type, by pipeline, by task origin, and you can even click through to Google Calendar if you have it integrated there as well. So calendar is one of my favorites. You can integrate a calendar, and then you can choose what other integrated calendars that you want to layer on. So it shows what your particular calendar has. And the cool thing about this is you can get the AI assistant through texting to actually set an appointment on your calendar based on your own availability when you sync a calendar to it. Really, really cool stuff if you're in real estate, of course. Sales, we're going to start with listings. So listings here are starting with active listings. So these are all the active listings that are on the particular MLSs that you have connected. I've got them connected all over the country, Canada and the US. So it's not showing all, but it's showing a fair number here. Team listings, these are listings that are that your team has currently. And then of course, my listings that are attached to you directly are there. Next up is showing. This is one of the new features that Lofty has released relatively recently. The cool thing here is you can see showing requests, across the top here, we've got 587 showing requests as of late. And then you can actually filter based on the showing status, whether it's just a request, it's pending, it's approved, and you can do a role versus a buyer that's requesting a showing, or it's a showing requested on one of your listings, which syncs over based on your MLS ID or your MLS number in the settings. So next up is offers. This is a really cool feature that I haven't played around with much because I'm not in production anymore. My team is. But what it will allow you to do is track offers on your listings and track offers on your with your buyers. And the cool thing is there's actually a feature in here where it says compare offer. So if you have a listing and you have multiple offers come in, the AI will summarize the differences between the offers and just provide like a summary for you and for your customer, for your seller, which is pretty cool stuff. Next up is transactions. I'm a big proponent of transaction tracking. In here, we've got 643 total count, almost 543 million in volume, 8 million in GCI, 6.6 million of it is team net commission, and 1.3 million is agent payment. So you can track by stage, you can track if it's a lease, you can track everything you could possibly imagine, and you tie it to a specific lead in Lofty. So I highly recommend that. Next up, we're going to go into marketing. These first two right here, emails and text messages. This is actually part of the new release that was just rolled out. When we scroll up to the top here, 3 days ago is when this UI and the buyer lead and sales tab offer management, when all that was rolled out. So if we go into emails, it's not going to show much for me because this is for people that are directly emailing and are in production. I'm not in production, so there's not going to be any data here, but there should be data for you here if you are in production and you're part of the beta testing, which I am. Text messages, similar thing. You can track the text number of texts delivered, the delivery rate, and then you can track how many texts you have based on your text license. The average person on Lofty has, I think, 200 texts per day, which is plenty. You don't really need more than that in my experience on average. Social Studio is a way for you to aggregate a social post across a bunch of different social platforms at once. So Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, X, connect YouTube, LinkedIn, connect Google, which is Google Business Profile, which I highly recommend you use. Here's a way to do this. I don't use the free, feature personally, but some admins and some agents on my team do. Scroll down, direct mail. So this is an ability to send postcards directly in the system to people based on their zip or their postal code, or you can actually add this as a particular step in a smart plan. So when somebody does something like they request a valuation on their property and they haven't picked up the phone, for example, you can have a postcard go out automatically that encourages them to send you a text or get in touch with you so you can engage with that person. Next is lead generation. This is the in-house dashboard for tracking when Lofty does your leads, which they do a great job. But what they do is they do ongoing management of leads. So they will actually manage your campaign. And I believe they take a percentage of the ad spend. This is how they typically operate. You can see buyer lead, seller lead, remarketing, postal code blast, listing blast. These are like social blast boosts, if you will. And then they've got sphere and local service ads. Local service ads are only available in certain areas. Basically what they are is what we call Google guaranteed. So when you search a service provider in your region, an ad comes up that says Google guaranteed, meaning Google vetted them. Plumbers, electricians, home cleaners often have these in many markets, and real estate agents have it in some markets too. The leads tend to be quite expensive, but the quality of the lead and the close rate tends to be very, very high. So that's something to look at there. Next up is Lofty Blast, Lofty Zoom, and brand awareness. These are all just variations of what I just talked about, different ways to boost or get marketing done. I also run Google Ads. I've been doing it for my real estate business for 15 years, and I've actually created a free community. So this is at school.com/ads. If you join this community just by clicking join group here, you join almost 9,000 people when I recorded this video, which is just amazing. And then what I highly recommend doing after you join is go into the classroom tab and then click on the Google Ads Masterclass course. That's what this is. You'll see the first video here, and then there's 5 weeks of videos, entirely free. I basically distill down how I've been running Google Ads for my real estate business, and I've generated leads for around $1.50 per lead and over 100,000 leads generated so far in North America. So little pro tip, go check that out. It's totally free. I love to give back, and I'm happy that you guys have an opportunity to see it. So next up is websites. So you click on content, then you click on websites. It's going to have any of the websites you have connected. I have quite a few websites. I've got a parent website because I have an enterprise site. And then I've got a bunch of office websites as well as subdomains for different people. This is where you would track it. Next up is landing pages. So landing pages are absolutely crucial to getting traffic to convert. So traffic coming to your website's good. Google Ads traffic, pay-per-click traffic, Facebook traffic, whatever it is coming to your website's good. One of the main reasons I use Lofty is I'm able to get these pages to convert at a really high level, which means your cost per lead, cost per customer is very low, which gives you that bigger delta between the revenue that comes in and the amount you spend to acquire a customer. And that's what the profit is, right? Lofty Presents is a CMA and listing presentation tool that's built into Lofty. The cool thing is when you send this particular report, it actually has a link, like a hyperlink by text or by email. So you can see when it's been delivered to them. And most importantly, you can see when they've actually viewed it. So you'll get notified when they view it, which is a perfect time to call them, help them walk through it, and then of course get the listing agreement signed at some point, if that makes sense, right? Next up is the open house form. So my team uses this at a pretty high level. I know a lot of people across Canada and the US do as well. The really cool thing about it is you can create a form either on a tablet or like a laptop that you just put at the front, put a little sign or encourage people to fill it out, give them some sort of benefit like sending them other properties or off-market listings when you have them if they do sign up. And you can tie it to that specific listing that they're in. So you can be like, let me send you the details for this listing and have it auto create a property alert that is listing like that. So if they're looking at houses in a specific area under $700,000, you can just automatically update them with listings like that, as well as house sale prices on a particular cadence to make sure that they're updated and they get it from you. So you become the person who's giving them all that value, right? Next up is the design center. I don't tend to use this too much, but you can do postcard designs, social media post designs formatted for that particular post. But yeah, just an amazing tool to use that is included with Lofty. And there's a video library that's in beta testing right now. So check that out if you're curious. Next up is smart plans. So smart plans are the nurture sequences that prevent people from slipping between the cracks in Lofty. So I'm going to show you the top 6 that I use. And in fact, if you like these and you'd like these installed in your Lofty account, down below in the pinned comment, there's going to be a little link that says get these 6 Lofty smart plans. If you click that link and put in that put in that information in that form, that's going to trigger Lofty to automatically install these into your Lofty for you for free. So I'm not charging for this. This is just going to be something I'm going to give you as a gift. So let me walk you through what these core 6 plans are. So the first one is when website behavior returns after 7 days. So they sign up, then they go away for 7+ days, and then they return to the website. It's what we call back to site. What it's going to do is it's going to send out a sequence of emails to encourage them to come back to the site, of course. The second one is when they leave a message or request a showing the first time, it's going to go ahead and do a sequence of 2 steps. I think this one's a text and an email. The next one is the first time they ever save a listing. So not every time, but the first time they click that heart, that favorite button to save it, it's going to go through. This is a 1-step sequence to encourage them to get in touch with you, of course. The next one is when they view a listing 3 times for the first time. So not every time, but the first time they view a listing 3 times, it's going to go ahead and kick this automation off just so you don't have to. It just all happens automatically. The real heavy lift one here is what we call long-term buyer. So this one, basically, if you go into qualify, nurture, or has agent pipeline stage, it kicks off a 1,300-day, 24-step nurture sequence that's built to like really warm them up and endear them to you so that when the time is ready to sell their property or buy a property, they're going to think of you first. The last one is very much like the first one. So instead of an absence of 20 or of 7 days, after an absence of 30 days and they come back, it's going to go ahead and send them the particular step right here, which is one step. So again, click below if you do want these installed. It's totally free. I'm not going to charge for it. Hopefully it helps you out if you're looking for some automations. Auto property alert is another one. So this one I highly recommend having settings like this. So enable on status. I use active and coming soon. I don't change anything like this. For location criteria, you can change this to anything, or you can put it as same as inquired city. I leave it the way I have it now, and I remove open houses because I don't want open houses to be on it at this particular stage. The frequency I automatically put is daily. And then this really, really critical step right here is what we call the schedule of when it sets the property alert up. The default most of you will see here is immediately, meaning if you put daily and you put in the AM, then every day it's going to send a property alert in the morning for people, and it's going to trigger that property alert setting as soon as they sign up. So it's going to base it off the first listing that they view. The real pro tip here is you set it 24 hours after lead registration, means it gives the particular lead 24 hours to look at properties, to look at different types of properties in different areas and different price ranges. And then it will compile a property alert based on that as an aggregate, basically. So instead of just the one property they looked at, which may not be exactly what they're looking for, it's going to amalgamate them all together, what they looked at in the first 24 hours. It's a much more accurate property alert. So I recommend that for sure. Market snapshot is similar to property alerts, but it's for sold prices. So you can set it like I have it as weekly. I include them as a seller if they come through that organically. Otherwise, I just put it the same as inquired city. Goes out on Mondays, and every Monday they're just getting updated on a weekly cadence of properties that are selling in the area that they inquired in, which is really valuable because often that's where they live to sell, or if they want to buy there, they're going to see what the competitors are selling for, and it really educates them. Click market report. This is same as the inquired city, and I have it set as quarterly. This is basically a one-page report. This is all going out digitally, of course, but it bases it on the city that they believe that they're having most interest in. And then it goes over and it gives them some details as far as like the percentage of list price and sell price, average days on market, really educates the buyer and the seller. And the more people see this from you, the more they're going to see you as the local expert. So it works really, really well. Home report is kind of a step up from market report. You get 5 of them for free, and then eventually you pay. Just a caveat here is this doesn't work that great in Canada, but in the United States, these work awesome. And they actually allow the customer to put in the interest rate they have and when their loan is going to be up, as well as how much equity they have in the house. And if they do input that in, it automatically will warm them up, even if they don't put that in, but it will warm them up with a bit more detail, the more information that's put in. And then it can pair in a lender. If you have a lender in the system as well, you can work together to make sure that you have the customer come to both of you when the time is right. Last one is what we call text code. So you choose a particular code. I've got Google, I've got home value, I've got hot list. You advertise wherever you're going to advertise, maybe even on your listing that says, hey, click home value, text home value to this phone number, which is your a number that you have in Lofty. And then you can have it trigger and send an auto response back by text. And it can actually be the details about that particular house, or it could be a home valuation page or any page on your website that you want them to go to that maybe capture their information or warm them up in some way. And the cool thing is when they text you this particular code, you now have their phone number. So it's going to create a lead in Lofty for them, and you can add automations and things like that because you'll know which property they came from if it's attached to a property. And you can set up a property alert for homes like that home that they texted about, and that will automatically go out, which is pretty powerful stuff. Reporting, this is a massive update that they did in the last year or so. It's got so much to it. It is absolutely crazy. We've got the agent activity overview, follow-up speed and effort, lead response performance, uncontacted leads, team guided setup if you have a team account like myself, activity leaderboard so you can see who's making calls, my activity, so what you're doing personally, activity goal. If you put goals in here, you can do it for the team or you can do it personally. And then it's got 3 of my favorite here: call accountability, email accountability, and text accountability. So what I think is super, super powerful is you figure out how many particular conversations are needed, how many calls are needed to hit your particular goal. You can do this as an agent by agent basis, and you can do it as a team as well, or as a company. And then you can see hour by hour, day by day, how on track you are to hitting the goals that you really say that you want to hit. There's so much more to this. This will be another video. I'll go over all of this at one time, but I just wanted to show you where this reporting was and just the details of how granular it really gets in looking into your business. So Marketplace is Lofty's marketplace. You can buy the dialer on here. You can upgrade to their lead generation processes and their lead generation products, farming and mailers, account upgrades, and then right here where it says lead generation partners, I'm currently in the process of being vetted for this, where I'm going to be a third-party preferred vendor to do Google Ads for Lofty users. And what I'm going to do is a bit different. I'm actually not going to do ongoing management of the leads. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take a campaign that I've been actually using for 15 years. I'm going to install it in your Google Ads account. I'm going to show you exactly how I do it, exactly what the landing pages I'll build for you, the conversion tracking in Google, and then I'll spend a month optimizing that campaign for you. And once that's fully optimized, I'll be doing a weekly video showing you how I'm doing it. I'll get your cost per lead and your cost per customer rock bottom, and then I'll pass the campaign over to you, and you'll get a full year worth of support if you have other questions when it goes through that process. So really powerful stuff. This is my results that I've gotten with Google Ads for the last 15 years. $102,000 in spend, $1.66 Canadian in cost per lead, which is around $1.20 US. And that's cost is a first name, last name, email, and cell phone number. So somebody registering on my Lofty website with giving permission to text and call and all that sort of good stuff. So yeah, it is really something I appreciate being able to do these videos for all of you. The marketplace is really powerful. Make sure to use that. The CRM is super powerful. I don't think enough people utilize it as well as they could. They just did this massive update, and I know a lot of people are pulling their hair out trying to figure out like where everything is. I hope this has been helpful in giving you an idea of where the things are. If you do have more questions, put in the comments below, and I would appreciate, I'll put a link for the Google Ads Masterclass School, which is totally free. It's at school.com/ads, but I'll link it in the pinned comment as well.